Hey, good morning. It is Monday. Let me see here, February 6th. And I am, to be honest, I'm really excited about today's video for my fellow LinkedIn community. So I'll just get started right away. When I started the year out, I had a goal that I wanted to read one book per week. That was, I guess, a New Year's resolution. And it didn't really, I'm reading about one book every 2 weeks, one book every 3 weeks, somewhere in that range, depending on how long the book is. But what I did start doing was I started listening to a ton of podcasts. And a little tidbit of information, I can listen to twice as many podcasts because I listen to them at 2x speed. So that's a little tidbit of information. If you say, I don't have time to listen to a 45-minute podcast, it's only going to take 30 minutes or 25. So you're welcome for that. But on to today's sort of episode video. I was listening to the podcast and I heard this Tim Ferriss podcast. And I heard this awesome quote from Martin Luther King Jr. So I just sort of wanted to read the quote today and give you my thought on it. And also, day after the Super Bowl, I'm going to talk a little bit about that too. So the quote is, if a man is to be called a street sweeper, he should sweep streets even as Michelangelo painted, or Beethoven composed music, or Shakespeare wrote poetry. He should sweep streets so well that all the hosts of heaven and earth say, here lived a great man, a great street sweeper, who did his job well, Martin Luther King Jr. So when I heard this quote, I was sitting in my car and it was pretty awesome. I was thinking, oh my God, that's amazing. Because so often I think, my job's not that exciting. It's just selling houses. It's no big deal. But unless you bring that excitement, like I'm going to sell houses like nobody has sold houses before. I'm going to provide service so good, it should be illegal. Unless you bring that attitude, you're not going to be putting out any energy. Who's going to want to buy a house from you? Who's going to want to buy a car from you? Who's going to want to do anything unless they just fall into your lap, which that happens occasionally. But then you give them amazing service and just game over. So anyways, that was from the Tim Ferriss podcast. He's got like 200 episodes. I started from the beginning, so I'm on episode like 16. They're all about a minute long, but I would definitely recommend checking it out. It's definitely worth your time. I'll probably do a couple podcast reviews for different podcasts that I try out, but that one was pretty cool. So then I wanted to get into the Super Bowl because we had a Super Bowl yesterday. And I actually turned the Super Bowl off a couple minutes into the third quarter. I think the score was 28-3. I was thinking there's no way the Patriots are going to come back from this. That it just can't happen. So I put on Finding Dory for my daughter. And then my wife tells me, she says, in about like 30 minutes later, she says, Al, it's like one touchdown away. So my daughter had to stop watching Finding Dory. But I think she was sleeping at that point, so it wasn't a big deal. But yeah, sure enough, the Patriots came back and the Patriots won in overtime, and it was amazing. I was like so excited. And sort of what I took from that, the interviewers, they interviewed some of the Patriots players and they're like, we have heart, we never quit. And that is true. You can tell. I would have, they didn't quit. It was amazing. But what I sort of took from that is don't rest on your laurels. If you're having a great year in insurance or mortgages, real estate, car dealership, if you sell screws and bolts, keep selling those screws and bolts. Keep calling on those clients. Don't rest on your laurels. Even if you hit your goals for the year, keep in touch with people. Even if you slow down your prospecting, keep in touch with your clients and continue to give them that service. Like I said, that's so good that it should be illegal. It should be outlawed. That's how good your service is because it's not fair to your competitors. So yeah, don't rest on your laurels. And if you're not having a good year, you can turn it around. I think that's the coolest thing about that game last night is even when you think there's no hope, There's nothing, why even come into work? I should just quit. You can come back. And just like the Patriots, just like Tom Brady, the greatest of all time. So that should just about wrap it up. And I will be posting another video tomorrow. All right, thanks.